right. I just want to tell everyone what's our goal. Let's just go over what's our goal here, and Rabbi Shapiro is going to start explaining what's going on. We have a kitchen here, full regular kitchen, and we're going to kosher it. And the key is we've done classes in the past that explain what to do, but now we're actually going to do it. And whoever wants to be involved and help participate in actually kosher it, we want you to be involved because this way you'll remember it better. So it's very, very hands-on, and you can do it yourself. We're going to give you the opportunity to actually kosher the stuff. We're going to just go through item by item in the kitchen. Like this, you can know how to, you'll know how to kosher it. That's our goal, so you should remember it, and you should know it very well. Once you've done it, you know how to do it very well. Some of the items we're going to be doing is the oven. We're going to self-clean the oven. We're going to clean the countertops. We're going to clean the sinks. We're going to put paper down on the fridge. We're going to do we're going to show you how to kosher microwave, even though we don't do it for Pesach. We're just going to show you how to do it so it's included in the kitchen. Like this, you can kosher cutlery, you can kosher cups. We're going to do it all so you can know how to do it yourself if you ever need to do it, even if you're not doing it for Pesach. So you can do it a whole year round. You'll ask questions as we go. Let's get started. And Rabbi Shapiro here, I guess, will lead the tour, and he'll tell us item by item. And then we're going to actually do it, so you'll see exactly how it's done.
We should get a little more comfortable. The process for koshering for Pesach is very similar to koshering during the year from something which is not kosher to make it kosher. There are a number of differences. Essentially, there are certain items that during the year, if are not kosher, can be kosher. For Pesach, we would not kosher. So we may. For example, he mentioned a microwave. A microwave we typically do not kosher for Pesach. But we can do it anyway just to get the practice and the hands-on for doing it if we need to do for all of the year. Another thing is, for Pesach, being that it's just for a week, it's not full-time, some people would opt out of koshering and would only cover the counters and things like that, and in many cases you can get away with just covering it without koshering it, or you can kosher it without covering it. In this kitchen, the rabbi is extra careful, and he koshers and covers. So we're going to do both, but those are options that you can certainly choose. It's certainly important to mention that when it comes to different countertops, not all countertops we would kosher for Pesach. For example, for mica, which is a form of plastic and glass, we do not kosher for Pesach. We kosher it if it has a problem during the year, but not for Pesach. So if you have a formica countertop, then even if you kosher it, it's not really 100%. You would have to cover it anyway. When it's granite you can kosher, so you could just kosher it and not cover it.
It's outside.
What is it?
Kum.
It's outside.
Oh.
Someone's flying.
Are you not allowed to use a microwave during Passover?
You can use it on the holiday. You cannot in the intermediate days of the holiday. You can use a microwave if it is clean and new and kosher for Pesach. Obviously,
So let's go in the order of what should you do first with the kosher kitchen?
The first thing is in terms of koshering. I don't want to. Let me get to the practical stuff. Let's do it. If any questions of why and how, we can. I guess you can guide me more than I'll guide you. The first thing is we need hot water.
Could it be the tea kettle?
It is a tea kettle, just whistling that it's red as boiling. Yeah.
Yes.
Take it off.
I can. You have to hold it down. It's okay. But we want it boiling, no? Okay.
At least then you don't have whistling.
We can talk fire. The first thing is we need hot water.
But so to get hot water, you need to kosher the.
Right. To get hot water, we need to have kosher for Pesach hot water.
So you don't use during the year tea kettle to use the water.
Correct.
You should
We
use
would
the
use-
You
Pesach.
gotta start from kosher. You gotta start from kosher.
Now, I might add, this is also a detail. Generally speaking, when you use a pot to kosher something, the pot that you're using remains kosher. Even though it comes in contact with something that wasn't kosher, but the pot itself remains kosher. When it comes to Pesach, we're extra careful on the pot that we use to kosher. We re-kosher that pot. Because the pot itself would technically become non-Pesach, and then we would kosher it over.
So you first should do your stove and oven before you start koshering.
So the first thing we want to make it Pesach, we have to do the stove and the oven to be able to get the fire, to get the pot to cook,
Right.
and then we can kosher everything else. Yeah.
So,
Do we need a separate pot, like, let's say I bought a pot now to kosher solely for Pesach, and then I use that pot during the year, but do I keep that pot solely for koshering?
You don't have to. But if you want to use it for other foods, want to cook potatoes in it, before Pesach we would kosher that pot as well. Which during the year we don't. Now I should mention,
Now not koshering for pouring on the counter, but you're talking about koshering.
I'm just gonna say general koshering the pot. Even pouring on the counter, it's best to re-kosher the pot as well. Even though you're right, it's not the same. It's not the same
how
thing.
can we kosher this big pot?
We're gonna make a mess. You kosher.
So first thing you do is you kosher the stove, right?
The first thing
We're
is
gonna actually kosher. Let's all go
the
to that.
first thing is the kosher. I just want to make one more point, and this is certainly important for during the year. For Pesach, it's in a sense less important, but we still do it. And that is anything we kosher, we do not use for 24 hours with hot.
Beforehand.
So these sinks are taped closed. I would imagine that these are 24 hours already that have not been used.
It was easy because it's Shabbos, just for Shabbos,
Shabbos.
we didn't use it. So,
The first thing is it's got to be clean and wait 24 hours before we do anything with
Okay, I
it.
have one more question.
Yeah.
Let's say I have new silverware that I bought for Pesach and during the year, and I have to kosher it, but I also have to toivel it
Why do you have to
because I'm
kosher?
missing pieces, and I had to get from replacements, so they possibly can be used.
Oh, you bought used this
Right,
time, okay.
because I have 30-year-old cutlery.
Okay.
Do I toivel first then kosher first then toivel, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter, but some kosher first before toiveling. But it technically doesn't matter. Whichever if you have.
Whatever I get the
Whenever you
chance
get the chance to do it, you
first.
can do first. There is an opinion in halacha that says you should first kosher it before you toivel it,
Right.
but that's not the halacha. The halacha says you can do either way.
Okay, fine.
So, okay, so we already 24 hours passed,
yes.
and already yesterday these grapes,
Well, we're gonna
all the grapes were already kosher.
We're gonna do
The
it now.
way we kosher them again.
Yeah, we're gonna do it now to show everyone how to kosher the oven. It's part of the
Okay.
kosher decision. So let's go.
But we're already using them, so what we're going to redo the koshering is only for demonstrative purposes. But this was already done, and that was done
so that the water can be boiled already
Through-
for you guys in there.
Right.
on the self-clean. Self-clean oven is much hotter than a regular oven. I mean, the self-clean cycle is a much hotter oven, and that is the highest degree of koshering possible. So if you took an oven on self-clean, it koshers the oven, and if you put anything inside the oven that could sustain that kind of heat, the items in the oven will also become kosher. Yes.
But you could also burn them on really high heat.
You could burn them, but that's more involved.
You need to get a blowtorch. And
No, it's a much harder process. You could do it. I've done it, but it's very
No,
tedious.
because once I put them in the oven and they're black, and they came out all like white, and my husband almost had a.
Absolutely, that's what I said. If it'll survive,
Mine
The-
survived, but it depends on what you have.
if it'll
Mine
survive,
survived. I
then
do
you're
it once a
lucky.
year for Pesach, and mine survives. And it really depends.
you can also get a second set of grapes. What some people do is they get a second set of
The
grapes.
So
sec-
last year I just put it on high and just let
You,
it
you let it on, left it on the fire.
You can get a second
So-
set of grates, and many stoves, they're not cheap to get to replace the grates. Sometimes the grates are almost as much as the entire stove.
I believe it.
So can you show us
Can you
both?
just-
What's the
So-
second way to kosher if
Yeah.
not self-clean? Let's interrupt.
I was told that I could just burn them for like until they're very, very
Okay,
hot.
so the one way is what was done here. I believe yesterday the grates were all put into the oven
The easiest
on
way.
a self-clean
Right.
cycle. It's risky, you never know how they're going to come out.
Right.
That's true. Another method is turning on the fires on the grill. Now the problem with that is you have to you leave it on for the amount of time. The problem is, for example, over here,
Why don't you use that one right there?
I don't have
Oh.
a thing. The fire doesn't really touch the entire grills.
Well, someone
Grills.
told me that if you turn them upside down, the fire will reach more than if you
If
turn
you,
them right side up.
if you move them around, so what I do, when I've done in the past, when I've had the kosher, these are little, what I would do is I would take them off and move them, do piece by piece. So I would do them in like 4 sections. So here the fire will get this corner,
How long?
and then it's hard to know. I do about 15-20 minutes each. So when you're doing 4 times, you're talking about an hour and a half and just be careful when you do it and you want to move them, they're hot. So you gotta get pliers. The pliers, you have the pliers here? Oh,
Yeah.
right here. We're all, okay.
You think a glove is not enough?
A glove to touch this on the fire, I wouldn't take a chance. I don't know, I never tried, with the plier, you pick it up.
Or you just wait, let it cool off enough that you can.
Yeah, but then you gotta do 15 minutes, 20 minutes each corner, then wait 10 minutes, 20 minutes till it cools off. If you have a whole 4, you do all 4 at the same time, it
Right.
gets very hot. This is not such a good pliers, I imagine that this one, let's maybe have a better, something like this should work.
Turning upside down.
Now you turn it around, you do piece by piece.
I was also taught if you turn it upside down, you get more of it also.
I don't know that you'll get more of it, you put it like this, it'll be more.
Well, it
What
depends
about-
on
what
the
about
shape of
turning it like
your
a
burners.
Huh? Now, there's another method, and that is, you also gotta be careful because if you look over here, this is all, what you can do is, you can take like tin foil, and put a couple of thick layers of tin foil over the stove, and then turn the fire on. By doing that, the fire, as you put a tin foil on top, the fire will spread out and will, in fact, go through the whole thing. And then you can get away just for 15 or 20 minutes, once.
You mean
Instead of,
something like
instead of
this?
moving it around. Something like this. Yeah, this is real thick stuff. I can't. This is kosher stuff. I don't know, where do you get this from?
It's from Israel, I think.
Now you tell me? It's a little late.
Now this is...
No, you get it in Lakewood. You can get it in
You
Lakewood.
get it in Lakewood and
Someone told me it's Israeli
you
certified.
could use it. I would
You don't need to
use
use
regular
any
heavy
duty.
duty.
Yeah.
Regular heavy duty. This is extra
If I
heavy.
put
You could do it to
that
cover
over
it.
the stove like that
Yeah.
and then just turn
Leave it
it
on
on.
for 20
You
minutes.
just gotta be careful because it will heat up underneath
Right.
quite hot. So,
What about an actual blast?
Yeah, so that's-
I've never found that an actual blech is...
It won't cover it, it won't.
You could try that also.
Basically, the black helps the fire spread out.
You know, yeah, when you put something down on the fire, it spreads it out. I don't know how far, but here, if you really cover it, all the fires become like one fire. You gotta be a little careful. That's why I said the other method of it's a little longer, with the self-clean. Yeah.
I've seen in that kosher supermarket down in Lakewood, they sell these koshering kits, and there are stones.
Yeah, I have
Do you need
it.
stones?
We've got it right here.
When we do the counter.
We could use this. It's
What's the purpose of that?
I was told it makes the water boil hotter.
yeah. So the stone is used.
Can you show it on the video?
I've used other iron. What happened? We have an iron, a hot iron. I find it to be a little more easier to use. That means, in order to kosher, we need to have the ultimate heat, either with fire, direct fire, or with boiling water. So I boil a pot of water, I put something in the pot. Anything I put into the pot is kosher. But the moment I take the water out of the pot and I pour it on the counter, the water has now dropped a few degrees. Maybe not a lot, but enough that it's not boiling anymore. So if I have hot water that's, let's say, instead of 212 degrees, it's only 195 degrees, or 200 degrees is still not good enough, I take a hot iron or a hot stone, and I touch the water on the counter, and that allows it to sizzle and brings it back up to the 212 boiling degrees. That's what the stone is for. But for a lot of things, or for example, I think someone asked the question, how do you re-kosher this pot? So Well, if you fill the pot up with water, then that pot also becomes kosher. The problem is, well, you don't really need to kosher the outside. As long as you kosher from the inside, that's fine. The problem is that in order to, you have to fill it up to the rim. Now, if I took a pot of water, filled it up to the rim, and turned the fire on, by the time it gets 200 degrees, maybe a millimeter or a centimeter already evaporated. So I didn't get the boiling water to the top. So here comes my stone. I have a hot stone. If I take a regular cold stone, I put it in, and it splashes over, but it splashes over at a much lower temperature. If I take a hot stone, and I put it in, now it splashes over, maintaining the same degrees.
Can you put a stone in before you boil the water?
That's not going to help. Because it's still going to evaporate by the
And
time
how do you get the stone hot in the first place?
this goes on the stove.
Oh, okay.
When the stone goes right on the stove, that's why they have this kit. Don't touch it with your hands.
Okay.
Because it gets hot. But there's other ways. I personally have used other methods to get the water to spill over. What I would do is I take a piece of tin foil, which is very light, not so thick, but I guess you can use this also. Even a regular heavy-duty tin foil, and I cover the pot. I fill it up as high as I can, and I let it boil. Now, because it's covered, it will, as long as it's close to the top, it will boil, and it could boil over. Once it boils over, then the inside of that pot is kosher.
You can't just cover it with a cover?
The problem is if you cover it with a cover, it won't boil that way. The cover itself will block it. It's not so. Yes, you can, but it's not so. It'll be too tight. It won't really boil over, and then once you open it, you'll lose it. That's why I felt if I use a lighter cover, it's easier.
When you're koshering, let's say cutlery or even plastic, you immerse it in the pot. Do you need that?
No, because when I put the cutlery in, the pot is boiling.
Okay.
Now, you are right. If I do a lot of cutlery, I do 2 or 3 dips, I have to wait a few more minutes till the water boils further. Because when I dip it in, it will cool down. Depending on how much cold cutlery you put in, how big the fire is, depending on how long it'll take to cool it down. But absolutely, every few, you kash a lot of stuff, you gotta stop and wait till it reboils.
What happens if your cutlery is only for Passover and you use it year for Passover and nothing else?
That's kosher for Passover.
But like, let's say during the year though, something got messed up, and then you stick it in.
Yes, what you do is you boil the water and you dip it in. Let's say you make a mistake. I have, my wife left for me a whole bag of stuff that accumulated during the year. By mistake, this went in the milk, went into the meat, then it in.
Oh, so things that I might have messed up.
Might have messed up, you dip it, you boil water, you dip it in and take it out.
What's the story with sticking it in the dirt outside? I don't know, I heard that, I heard you have to, I don't know.
It's mamarush.
There, no, it's slightly misunderstood or misused. There is a method. One of the certain items need to be cleaned very well and not kashered. In halacha, when we kasher something, as we're talking about with fire and heat, that's only if it was used with heat. Something that was used with cold. If I took a knife and I cut a ham sandwich with a knife, that knife, technically speaking, was not used with cold, with hot. You don't have to kasher with hot water. That needs to be thoroughly scrubbed and cleaned well. Back in the day, the method of doing that was sticking it into the ground where they didn't have steel wool and things like that. You couldn't really clean it. They would stick it 10 times in the ground. So from that, people thought that, but that's only in limited situations when it's actually cold and it's a knife and you need to do it 10 times in hard earth. Putting it into a flower pot is not really the answer. Some say that today's abrasive steel wool kind of things would accomplish the same thing. But so for Pesach, it's not really a practical component. And even generally, I don't use that.
So let's say a pot you would only have to immerse it into a bigger pot with the boiling water to kosher the inside. You wouldn't have to stick the whole like handle.
Correct. Correct.
I am thinking of certain things like during the year, not just.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. Obviously, if the smaller the pot, it's easier because you can always put it into a bigger pot. But it comes to the point, what do you do with a big pot? And that, after the Rambam gives another method. It's not a practical. I don't know. He says you take a piece of dough, not for Pesach, obviously. You take dough, and you make a rim around the pot. You extend the rim, and that way you can fill it up above the rim, and therefore that would kosher you remove that piece of dough. But that's, other innovative ways of koshering. So what are we going to start with the self-clean? Well, self-clean is not, such a big deal. I'm sure everybody has pushed a couple of buttons before and done self-clean. Now, there is one caveat when it comes to self-clean, specifically for Pesach. Glass and plastic, we do not kosher for Pesach. Most ovens have a glass window. So the glass window, even if you run it on the self-clean cycle, does not kosher. So for that,
Here, we'll actually do it.
we'll do it. Let's do
Can we
it.
have everyone come to the
Let's
oven?
do it here. This oven.
Everyone there? And this oven, we're going to do this oven. And basically, if we want to, Rabbi Shapiro was saying, do they have to clean the oven first before they self-clean it? Or
And it should be as best clean as possible, but no, you can kosher it if it's on self-clean.
Okay, so do you want to take one of the things? Just, put that inside. It's not hot. I don't think it's hot.
No, it's not.
Here, Robin, you want to take one of the grates and put it in the oven?
It's not hot.
I don't think so. Check, you can check.
Put it in the oven.
Yeah. And
Alan?
Rivka, what is it? It's a little raisin. It's a little hot. No, it's fine. It's fine. Put it in the oven. Just wait for the hot. We already really technically koshered it. Rabbi Shapiro, would they put this in also?
I don't know. If it works,
Yeah. Okay, Monica, why don't you put those pieces?
Oh, so you put the little pieces in?
whatever you can get into the oven.
Right. The bottom piece also.
Oh, the drip pan.
Your drip head. Hold on one second. Okay.
Most ovens today don't come with
And
it.
this also.
No, mine doesn't.
Right?
I have the foil ones I throw away.
So you see, we're just putting everything in the oven.
And you put it in.
And we're putting it in. Now, again, Rabbi Shapiro showed you before how to do it if you're not putting.
This piece.
Okay, yeah.
Well, her piece comes off. If your piece doesn't
Right.
go off.
And it doesn't. Well, if it doesn't come off, then you just turn the fire on.
Right.
What should the oven be on?
Now it has to have self-clean. It has to have self-clean. You can't see because the buttons are already like whatever messed up. But if you look clearly, one second, you put it on.
So whatever the self-cleaning thing is on, it should
No,
be
it's
on.
not. Yeah, it is clean. It says clean right here.
Oh yeah?
It says clean. Be careful. Yeah, clean. You see, you can't.
Yes,
That's
I do
clean.
have to lock this.
So you put it all in.
Watch out for the wires.
You gotta lock it
Lock it and then
somehow.
I put it on dry.
And then here, you also have to turn something here. We're not really. Tova knows how to do it.
Okay, oven cleaning, move door latch
Oh, all
to
you have
right.
to do is take it outside for a spray with the coating spray,
Here, here, here.
and it's fine again.
Here's the latch. You gotta lock the oven.
You know, use the canola oil or the olive oil coating spray, just spray it with that. After it's done.
You turn
Yeah, I
it
just
on,
take
though.
them out in the house,
What?
outside, wherever you want. Just spray
And
it.
that's it?
That's it, and then they're
close
fine,
it.
then everything
wait till
slides and
I didn't
moves on
know
it.
that.
Okay, everybody, look over here for
When
a
you clean
moment.
the racks in the oven,
The enamel gets ruined?
no, my analysis, it just gets very, nothing slides anymore because it's like really cleaned off very well. All I do is take the cooking spray and I spray the racks and then I don't have that problem. Everything slides along fine back and
Because my
forth.
grating got ruined, the whole
Yes,
finish.
that's what happened to
Yeah.
mine.
My grades, I was told by the store that I can put it in self-clean, no problem. So you have to know your grades. If your grades are a problem,
What if they can't, what if they
My
can't?
grates actually have a little rubber,
Coating.
not a coat,
On
a
the
little
bottom.
rubber.
On the bottom,
something.
Well, the newer stuff, it's probably harder. My oven's
So
30
you
years
gotta
old.
take that off. That certainly will melt inside the oven.
so your
Um,
options are either to burn it like Rabbi Shapiro showed
Right.
before, or you can buy it. You can simply buy it for another $150
Or
and a set
can
of
you
grades.
boil?
Or you can stick it in there. You
I
can't
had-
boil. You cannot boil.
I had someone who
No, you
told
cannot
me that
boil.
they just covered their grates in aluminum foil.
you can cover it.
In aluminum foil.
Now the problem with covering,
Is if it really, you have to keep recovering it as it gets
if it
dirty
rips,
or gets
if there's
dirty.
a lot of usage on it,
Right.
you need to have a heavy
Well, what
duty tin
about
foil.
taking that heavy
Well, the
foil and
Costco has
covering
the
it
big
with
roll
the
of
fire?
You could do that, but you need some air. You need to open up.
Now,
some air.
Rosh Hashanah, here there's no, usually there's a self-clean cycle. Here there's no self-clean cycle, so how long do you have to self-clean it for if you're doing it by time? So let's say you have an oven like this where there isn't not a cycle.
Well, mine goes from 2.5 hours, I think, to 4 hours or
But
something.
this you
I usually do the
control
4
how long
hours.
it should be on that cycle.
I know, it looks like it, no? How long?
I would imagine 2.5 hours, 3 hours, something like that.
Okay.
Well, it probably also depends how dirty everything is you're putting it in.
Okay, let's take it out. So let's say our self-cleaning was done, right? Let's take the stuff out. You want us to put the stuff back? Be careful.
You have oven mitts? I'm not touching. Isn't this stuff hot? Oh, okay, I didn't know
I'm not
that.
sure if it went on or not. It's a little warm, but could be.
Yeah, I just got these.
Where'd you get them?
My husband got them in ShopRite.
They have them?
They had them.
These are
They're probably
just
gone by now.
refrigerator shelf liner.
I use them in the freezer
Do you
too.
know where to get a sink liner?
Probably have to go to Lakewood or Borough Park, Williamsburg for them.
But I thought all you could do is just have like that grate on the bottom, no?
Well, I have stainless steel, so I just pour boiling hot water. I put the grate. If you have a ceramic sink, you need a sink liner.
Right,
Ceramic
so,
you cannot kosher.
so what do you do
For all
for
year
that,
round.
for the ceramic, you need a sink
You
liner?
have the sink liner. Yeah,
Excuse me?
yeah. I don't need that. I have a steel.
Now with the glass, I would take like it's what I did last year, and
I heard something about covered with cardboard, but
not up.
I know. I heard for the microwave, you should cover the glass with cardboard to use it. And I was like,
That-
but how does it stay up?
With some tape.
Yeah, but doesn't the tape melt as you use your microwave?
If microwave will hold tape, will hold
The,
plastic.
the tape won't melt or get when you're finished.
Not in a microwave. It shouldn't.
Okay,
I mean, I don't know how you scratch off the tape.
that's what I'm saying.
What I do on the glass of the oven,
Oh.
I take a piece of tin foil and put it down.
Okay, and
Now
cover-
there is a way you can
Here,
use.
let's do
You
it.
can use this.
Is that tinfoil tape?
This is tin foil tape.
So
So you could actually tape it inside with the tin foil. What I did was, I didn't use such
But actually
thick plastic.
we'll
I used
cost-
regular tin foil, and I made a very long piece that covered here,
And you take it on the
wrapped around.
outside.
No, I wrapped around all the way
Okay.
and overlapped, and then I took a regular piece of tape, and because if I just wrap it around until here,
Right.
which is fine, and then I tape a
Right.
piece of scotch
Tape it.
tape on two sides, this can get hot.
Oh, that's true. So if you
And then
tape,
the plastic
Right.
will either won't melt off, but it'll be
Right.
hard to tape
But if
off
you
at
tape
the
it
end.
on top
But
of
if
the-
I
leave the tape on top-
overlap the
and
tin
you-
foil,
and
I
then
put
you
the tape on the
tin
tin foil,
then-
and I just rip on the tin foil,
I like that idea. That
and,
makes sense.
and it doesn't.
Right, but for the microwave, I can't
It
do
doesn't
that.
melt then?
It didn't melt.
Over?
And even if the plastic melts, it melts on the tin foil. So I just
But
rip
you
on
don't
the tin
care
foil
what you're
after
gonna
Pesach.
do. You just take it off and
I'm
throw it
done.
away. Yeah, but I can't do that for the
Definitely have
microwave.
to
Cover the
Okay.
glass.
So this only needs the inside. Let's do it. We're gonna do it right
You
now.
can do it on the inside. It's a small glass, a little bit bigger glass, but the idea is
So only the glass has to be covered.
Now, when I clean my
this,
oven,
right?
there's
Does
like
this have to be
black,
covered?
there's like black stuff here in the corners.
what is
This
this?
is fabric.
Right, it's worn away, her thing here. My question is that in my oven, their corners here are black and brown from all those, because it's a 30-year-old oven, does
Self-clean?
self-clean, and there's still the corners don't get clean, the very far corners.
That's fine. It's not.
Because I'm saying it's touching out here, it's not
But
touching.
you're not touching the food.
Right,
You're not cooking.
it's not the internal part, it's the external part.
Right.
Okay.
So we're gonna cut a piece to cover the glass, correct? That's our
We're gonna
goal.
use this.
And
This
then
is
we're
just
gonna-
real?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. How does this work?
Why the glass can't be kosher?
I don't hold that
Glass is
gla-
always kosher, no?
Ay, 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 ay.
There's two opinions.
You're asking two good questions. Glass is an interesting material in terms of halacha.
Be careful, try
There
your
are
shot.
three
It's like a
opinions
knife.
when it comes to glass. Some say glass is always kosher. Some say glass can never be kosher, and some say glass can be kosher. For Sephardim, for example, they hold that glass is always kosher. They use glass for meat and dairy, interchangeable. They don't have a problem with it. However, Ashkenazic Jews, we hold that glass does not retain, it means glass is not always kosher. I mean, you have to kasher it. But for Pesach, we follow the more stricter opinion that it cannot be kasher, so we don't kasher glass. Plastic is a very very new material. It's not brought down in Shulchan Aruch, but it has some similar qualities to glass, and that's why we follow some similar procedure because of plastic as well.
Why is that? Because the Torah doesn't say glass. All the Torah says is earthenware and metal. So that's why glass is. That's why Torah doesn't say glass. So the question is, glass comes from sand. Is sand considered earthenware or not? That's why they have that conversation. If glass is, someone just spoke to Sfardi this morning who said that glass is no problem. Sfardi, for example. Right. So he's saying during the year, you say glass can't be kosher.
Sfardim,
they kosher glass. They don't even kosher glass.
They just use it.
They hold glass can't even become chametz.
But some would kasher glass for Pesach also. Our custom is that we do not kasher glass.
So who wants to stick the silver foil on?
I
Yeah.
have, for a while, every Pesach, I was buying the new
Here, Robin,
glass.
cover the glass.
New glass teacup. That means I couldn't, even though it's the outside, and I'm only using it for boiling water, I need to buy a new glass tea kettle every Pesach.
I would think so. I mean, if you were in control of your kitchen to the degree that you knew exactly what touched and what came in contact with your tea kettle and you know nothing touched it, then maybe. But I
Do the small end.
No, actually,
I would be I mean, anything that's floating around in your kitchen on the fire.
Only water gets in touch.
No, you wash it with a sponge from
Right, but it's
You
also,
wash the sponge, I wash
right,
the
but
glass.
it depends but if you leave it on your stove and you're cooking other things and other things get on the outside
What
of it.
happened was, one year I didn't put it away and I wound up with
What I do?
So now I need to buy a new one for Pesach and put it away.
Alex, take a video.
I have a corningware one that I use for Pesach, a small one that I keep, and that I pack away every year.
That Alex, I am going to buy another.
Okay.
That's really cool, that tape.
Yeah. So it's special. They got it in. Mrs. Kazana, where'd they get this tape? Here. You want to put on a piece?
PGS or center of town. It's unbelievable. It's, you know where ShopRite is? In Lakewood? It's in the same thing, and they have unbelievable stuff.
Here.
There's some music-
What's your first name?
Offend anybody.
What is it?
Allie.
Allie, you'll do a piece too.
Across the thing. It just holds it much better, the whole thing.
I don't know. You can certainly use that, but it's not available.
I'm having a hard time separating it.
I don't think the rim.
You want a long one? Or you want a long, the top, and then you see where the white is?
Not directly in the oven.
Press it down, honey.
Outer layer. I don't.
Press it down, honey.
If you can. Or kosher. This is plastic.
Okay. Just watch. Okay. Let's watch out for this. This is very hot.
My husband said we kosher and then we take out the filter, right? This is the filter, we can't, how do we get that?
We used to use this time.
Here, Rabbi Shapiro, because the video's running. Let's move right along. How do we now? What do we do with the top? We're gonna stick.
Do you have anything thinner?
Do we have?
You use this for your tops?
Yeah, and then I put I'll do it, the second thin one on top so that it's like spills.
So you do it up against like that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, here's you got to also be careful. This oven we use, make sure that you have the vent over here is
left open.
It's left open. Okay.
And what this will do is
Here, hold on to it. So we're gonna cut it right here.
you could. Well, the idea is that we only kosher the grates, but the drip pan is not kosher. Now, so what we do is we cover the drip pan in the inside. Technically speaking, if you don't, and something spills over there, something falls over there, that's where you have a problem.
So we should
So
leave
you
it.
just buy the aluminum foil one that you could throw away. change.
Yeah, but those don't really cover the whole.
No, I mean, I put aluminum foil on top.
For
and I
example,
just-
right over here, this
I
stove,
cover
for
with
example, the grates only cover a small
You know, I cover the
section.
whole stove with
Right in
aluminum
the
foil, and I
middle,
just put the drip pans on
there's
top.
nothing here. So if I take a pot and move it over on top of that area,
I
it's
put
on
the
a
drip pans on
surface
top of
that's not
aluminum foil.
kosher.
So this way, if they get dirty, I just throw them away, put new ones
So
down.
we cut with the hole here.
Cut a hole. Well, you know,
How far?
Like this.
Just for this.
But I had the metal ones. I had, the problem was I
I never
didn't have
used
enough time to
such
keep
stuff.
them clean, so I switched to the aluminum.
I use heavy duty. Go to the store, I get heavy duty, and
Yeah.
now it's a little more versatile, but as a whole. So sometimes during Pesach, I have to replace it. It gets all dirty and
Right.
ripped and things like that. So
But you can take it off and replace it during cold mode if you have to.
yes, do that. As long as you don't cook anything while it's off.
Right, which most people wouldn't do.
That's right. So this.
Okay, and then we would tape up the ends, I guess.
You take up the ends.
Okay, so I guess should we move along? Leave this here
Well,
like
now
this.
the knobs should be cleaned very well. What I do, I take a piece of tin foil, usually the thinner one because it's not so easy to
Right.
put it on, and I wrap the
I've been using clear wrap instead because I found that I couldn't read the words when I need to read the words. So I take clear plastic wrap and I cut it into smaller pieces and I cover the top and then if you can somehow get it to stick underneath but it doesn't cover the hole and then I just put them on like that.
That's a good idea, I never thought of that. I always use tin foil.
And then you can't read them. I have electronic ignition.
Then you have to
read.
see where the
And
line
and
is.
it's right, and then you can't even read where it goes cook or
By the way,
the
you get-
temperature degrees.
You get cheaper replacements in the
You
store.
could buy cheap
I want you to
replacement
know,
knobs.
no, they're not cheap. I just bought a new temperature knob. It was $40 this year. Last year I
Where'd
replaced
you
the
get it
section
from?
knob and it cost me $60.
That's if you buy the brand.
By the brand, if you go to
Buy the brand.
Lakewood,
If you buy the
Right, but when
generic
you're talking,
brand.
right, but when you're talking a 30-year-old stove, those won't work.
Okay. That's very possible.
Do you use plastic
But you
wrap?
need a plastic cover because these are
Because if you want to read the words, I said, how can you read the words? You put
so
aluminum foil.
dirty. You use them, you're cooking.
Right, exactly. So I mean, so I clean them very well and then I cover them with plastic wrap. And then if the plastic wrap gets dirty, you just replace the plastic wrap also. So, but plastic wrap has worked very well. They've held on, they
I
stay.
never tried plastic. I never tried
Can we
that.
move on, like, to our...
yeah.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
now
The other oven is a little. I want to show you the other oven because it's a little more. The door is a little more involved. Let's move over to the other oven because it's the glass is bigger and a lot of your ovens might have that kind of glass. So, right, Mr. Graham?
yeah, but the difference is in yeah, this is a bigger glass. This
Would you cover it the same way?
I'll cover the same way, either just
It'll move a lot quicker
cover
now.
that,
Right.
or
Oops, sorry.
my patent of
Right, going around.
going around and then covering it.
Okay, but can we
You
have...
don't have to look.
Okay, so just show you that this is the larger glass and you use it.
Is that...
Wait.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind.
Yeah, now,
Kosher the
now
counters.
then we have to kosher the counters and the sink with the knobs and all that.
Yeah.
That is done with pouring water. Now, like I mentioned before, pouring water is not enough because it cools down. You got to do the iron. Now, if you don't want to bother with that, it will get wet because it's got to spill all over the place. And if it's just for a week, what I do is I just cover it with something. Now, depending, if you can use tin foil, that's certainly the problem with tin foil is if it's used, you cut a piece of bread and you cut a slice into the tin foil, it's going to rip, it's not going to hold. So you need to use something thicker, maybe this heavy duty stuff, or
we have.
what we have here is a very thick linoleum type thing. I get a lake where they have the corrugated plastic.
Yeah, my husband just bought that. We love it. But we originally had, it looks like corrugated cardboard, but it's plastic.
It's right.
Because we had the linoleum sheets, Formica sheets that we cut.
Where can
But
you
those eventually
buy
got
that?
ruined.
I don't know where this goes. Maybe
Where
over
do you
here.
buy that?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
That definitely has to
It's
go to
made from
Ryan.
These are
tiles.
tiles.
What?
These are
Made from
linoleum
plastic
tiles.
tiles.
Fake.
Just
It's glued. It's glued to stick.
Where do you
No.
buy that? Where
It's
do
like
you
a
buy
floor.
that?
It's like a.
It's
Door tiles.
I'm just gonna to Home Depot, you buy that to put over your counter?
Floor tiles.
You could,
Jordan said I need something to put over my table also, because the table's from
Same
my.
thing.
yeah.
Look at
You
the
could
back.
also, you
It's
also
floor
can
tiles.
buy, you know, the big
Connected
sheets of
with floor.
plastic that they sell in Amazing Savings that come on the roll. I know people in my community use them to cover their countertops. You cut a big sheet, I throw it over my
What
kitchen
kind of
table,
plastic is
throw it
this?
over my coffee
What
table.
kind of plastic?
It's this huge sheets.
They used to call it oilcloth.
It's the big plastic sheets that they can use for anything.
Are they durable?
Yeah, they're very thick.
If they won't fall off,
It's
they won't
clear.
rip, you cut, you
It's
know, you
clear
cut them.
plastic and you just tape everything down. I cut a large
Yeah.
sheet, I throw it over my kitchen table, I throw a sheet on top of my coffee
Here,
table.
you want to look on the other side for a second? You'll see
Yeah,
how
it's
they
covered.
spend time the first time. They cut
Right.
it
Cut it to
exactly,
size.
Right.
and it fits perfectly.
But we're gonna kosher, so if you don't wanna kosher the counters, you can just do that. Or you could do both, as we're gonna do here. You put
The
any
other
color.
way, you're doing boiling water, you're
Yeah.
ironing. right?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. The problem with the sink, yeah, gets a little bit more complicated, because the sink is a porcelain you cannot kosher at all. Number two, the walls.
I don't know how.
The walls of the sink are you can't go with an iron. because-
Wait, a porcelain? You don't know how to
I
catch
have a
porcelain? So choose an
porcelain
insert?
Yes.
Where
So
would
here,
I
I'll
put
show you
it?
an insert. Sorry.
Either an insert or you could, you don't have an insert, you can cover it with like tinfoil. It's a little messy, but it is what it is.
Perfect. So you'll see what it is.
That's
Now, rubber chip here, right here. So they sell these in the store.
And I have a very nice sink too. It's like a round, it's granite and it's
There, I'll move there in a second, but you see?
Wait a second, it's porcelain or is it granite?
it's porcelain with a granite countertop.
Oh, okay.
And it comes, you should use this thing because if it gets clogged and pieces go down, then the water will start coming up. And if your sink's not kosher, the water is like it's hot water and stuff. Yeah, it's auction.
Center of town.
Center of town. Alex, watch out for the fire next to you.
Center of town, it's called?
It's in the
what
super
shop
shop.
Yeah.
Go and fire it, Steve.
Jamaica Plaza.
Yeah, I know
Next
that.
door to Jamaica Plaza, there's a store center of town. They have all
Okay.
this stuff.
Okay.
You can get that.
But even if it doesn't fit and it's smaller, it's okay. So it'll drip down.
Let's actually kosher now.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
We have some towels there. Now, the process is we start with hot water and then we rinse it with cold water.
Why do you rinse with cold?
So when do you iron it?
In between. We
Okay.
pour hot water, we do iron,
We'll do it. Watch.
then we
Okay.
rinse it with cold water, and then it's good.
So should we do an iron or spray with an iron? Here, excuse me.
Why? Let me take out my jacket.
Put your silver on.
You don't need water in the iron.
No?
You have gloves or a
Towel,
towel, a china, maybe the china.
Is it hot enough? The towel is.
The towels are right here.
Okay, what are you doing? Which corner?
Start from there, no?
Enamel.
But then it came back to
I'm gonna start with the sink.
Last year I didn't take a chance, I just burned it.
And then here's the cold water. Okay.
Okay.
Is everybody washing? Watching? Oh.
Yes.
So the way to do it is to put either one on the floor, or sometimes what I would do is, I'm sure what do you say about this idea? You actually stick a towel right over here,
That's a good idea.
and I usually find most of there are drawers and stuff.
What is that little drawer for you?
This is just for sponges.
Yeah, some can.
Like, or you see, you could even go in like a regular drawer. See right here, you can even actually go into a regular drawer. So this way the water's going to spill over.
But not on the counter.
Right, you can stick it in the dishwasher, I guess.
Dishwasher has
Very
to be
hot.
taped up, right? It's
Yeah,
not-
dishwasher. Oh, we're going to show you how to tape up too. We're going to have little comment signs. We try to do everything.
You know how to use a dishwasher?
No.
We don't use the dishwasher. We don't wash it.
Pot holders.
I know, but I don't have.
Yeah, no.
Ask Tova, where is the pot holder?
What?
Pot holders.
How do I do this?
What?
Give him some pot holders.
Okay, everybody watch.
I want to get. I want to get the china can.
There's not a lot in the Chinese. This is hot too. You know?
Why just iron it? Steam it with iron, that's it.
Are you gonna put
You know, I
one
left
on the
my-
floor? Here.
Shut it off, turn it on again. No, shut it off.
It's on.
Stop. I don't know. Sometimes it does that. There you go.
Do you want to put one on the floor?
Yeah, you need a lot of towels, as you're probably noticing right now. For this.
What about holder?
We're gonna, is it iron on?
The iron's on.
You did that?
Yep.
This is
And your back will get
get something to put on top of the counter to cover the counter.
Found out. I guess we won't kosher all the counters. We'll just give you an example.
Which part you gonna cash?
The sink. We're supposed to start with the sink.
I have to move both.
Right.
But
Whatever works.
For China, is the easier one.
It's true.
With the sink, well, we won't be able to put the iron on the sink because there's the walls, but at least we'll get the counters.
So how do you do the sink?
The
You're gonna show us?
the sink will have to be covered. We'll put an insert in the sink.
There's no way to kosher a sink?
You can kosher the
Stone?
sink.
that means it's good.
But this is a stainless steel sink, so how come it
Am I
can...
using the thing?
No, I don't think so.
This is a stainless steel sink, and this
Okay,
is ceramic
let's
sink.
do questions
Yeah, we're
after.
gonna-
We're
We're just gonna pour the water. See, it's boiling.
Not just this little?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be that.
the cold water, sir.
So first the hot, then the
You
cold?
want to just get everywhere, right? Not to go.
The goal is to get every spot.
This little?
Very independent. Yeah, it's fine.
You're watching an actual koshering. This is not just a demonstration. This is actually koshering it for Pesach. It is a demonstration, but
Well, the sink we can just turn on the cold water.
I'm just throwing the cold
You
water.
don't have to. With the sink,
And what about this thing? The hose or the...
I don't need the hose. You want to put off the hose?
Okay, let's do the
Turn
hose.
off the water.
1 second. It doesn't go out further.
Sure.
Yep. I don't want to break it.
I'll be stuck underneath.
That's a good idea. I think we appreciate it's not working.
See the hose?
You want to try and pull it? That's all it goes, I think.
I just poured a little bit of cold water on top of this.
And on the other side? And, no?
Or Shpir, does you need the other side?
So it's done.
No,
Okay.
this side. No, I meant
Oh, you mean this?
here,
This
no?
side.
So is that sufficient for the plastic? It's okay?
I would not say it's sufficient. I would cover it afterwards.
How come?
How do you cover it?
Plastic?
With either tinfoil or plastic, a thick tinfoil.
But if
that works.
this was koshering for year round, this
For
what would you
year
just have
round
to
on
buy a new
for
one?
year round on plastic, you can get away with it. You can get away with
They
it.
said I saw some of the pots that have plastic handles and stuff at the ends. They said it's fine. Like the
Well, the handles is something else. But yes, you can kosher this way for Pesach. I would cover it to make sure. A lot of people would use it because it has this strainer underneath. Take like a sock or something, like a little shmata on the sink to cover it.
You don't have to go. If it's your first year doing it, I don't know if you.
No, you can, the koshering is
It's good.
Is definitely the first step for that.
Okay.
Now let's see.
Do the counter. Okay, fill up hot water and then you'll put it on the fire.
Huh?
What are you doing? Okay.
Isn't this hot water?
Yeah. Well, it's been on the fire for a little bit.
Should I boil it again?
And then we're going to do it here. So should I shut off the fire and get a towel ready on this side so it doesn't go in the oven?
Okay.
Yeah, is that what you want to do? So,
Watch part never boils.
What's the point of pouring the cold water afterwards? I've always heard just pour hot water and you're done. I never heard pouring cold water on afterwards.
See, closes it.
I'm on camera here. No, I'll tell you. It goes like this. How does koshering work? It's not a, although it's a halacha concept, but it's not just a spiritual idea. There is a science behind it.
Right.
When you cook something in a pot, for lack of a better word, the flavor, the taste of that item gets absorbed into the pot.
Right.
Hold on.
So let's keep let's make it simple. I cook milk in a pot, the milk gets absorbed in the pot.
Right.
An hour later, I cook meat in the pot.
The meat gets absorbed.
Now, the meat gets absorbed in the pot. In addition to the meat being absorbed in the pot, the milk that was absorbed in the pot goes out into the meat. So now my meat is treif because it was cooked in a pot that had milk in it. So I didn't pour any milk in the pot, but there was lingering the taste of the milk in the pot before.
Right.
So what we need to do is we need to, quote unquote, purge, extract that taste that's absorbed in the walls of the pot. This process, just like when you cook, the milk goes in and out. How long does that take? When does it come in? When does it go out? So, let's just say, for example, this pot is, I cook milk in it. Non-kosher food, whatever it is. Then I fill it up with water. And now the flavor is coming out. So now, if all the flavor came out, it should be kosher. Let's go back to the example of the milk. I cook milk in a pot. And now it gets absorbed the flavor of milk. Now I cook meat in the pot. Why don't I say the milk come out of the pot, went into the meat. And now, maybe the meat is treif, but the pot is kosher. Because there's no milk and meat there, the milk came out.
Right.
So this idea that the flavor goes in and out